If you have a child or a grandchild in sports, you've probably heard of the referee shortage. In some cases, games have been canceled because there's no ref to officiate.
This is just not impacting Minnesota. This is really a nationwide issue. Dawson Blanck with the Minnesota Youth Athletic Services is joining us now via Zoom with who can ref, the qualifications needed, and an event to recruit. Dawson, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, good morning, Chris and Megan.
Let's start with the magnitude of the referee shortage. I know it was already bad before the pandemic, and I assume like everything else, it's just been hard to get people to do the job.
Yeah, it's accelerated greatly. I mean, as the pandemic hit, we knew that there was going to be a shortage, but as the pandemic came through, more people chose who are a little bit older to just not come back, and that accelerated that process. There was a data provided by officiallyhuman.com, and they surveyed 19,000 officials from 15 states, and 50% of those officials are 55 and older, and only 12% of those officials are under the age of 34. So we know that there is a great need for us all as a Minnesota youth sports community to come together to recruit, educate, and retain officials.
Dawson, I'm curious. I mean, when we talk about referees, are you seeing specific regions that are being hit harder than others? Are you seeing specific sports being hit harder than others? Or is this just kind of across the board, across the entire state, across every kind of sporting event, whether it be soccer or baseball or football or basketball? Hockey?
Yeah, across the board. I am the executive director at the Minnesota Youth Athletic Services. We serve the sports of baseball, basketball, football primarily, and there is a shortage in those sports, but that is one of the biggest reasons why the Minnesota Amateur Sports Commission put together Play Together Minnesota, and it's made up of youth sports organizations, amateur sports organizations, and professional organizations, where they are going to tackle issues that are common in our industry. And this is the biggest issue right now. And that's why we are holding this referee expo on Saturday at the National Sports Center.
And Dawson, we're going to talk a little bit more about the expo itself here coming up in a minute. But as far as why referees are deciding to not do this anymore and younger people aren't interested in doing it, I can only assume, and I've heckled a ref or two in my life before, but I always try to do it in a very kind way. I assume that it's a lot of parents' interaction that people are, the refs are just like, enough with this. I mean, a lot of folks at these games have kind of lost their minds.
Yes, same survey that I referenced before, officiallyhuman.com. 55% of the officials rank verbal abuse from fans, coaches, parents as the #1 reason why they quit. Oh. I think it's a twofold thing. There's people quitting that are older, that have been through it because they just don't want to deal with it anymore. But the other part is trying to recruit the younger high school kids or the college kids, where you can't find many places where you can make $25 an hour at a minimum to officiate or umpire a game. It's just what they have seen as players growing up and how those officials or umpires are treated. They don't want to go do it. And so the other huge issue is the sportsmanship side. And that's things that we are working with a strategic partner called Youth First, where there's this constant reminder of it's about the kids, respect your officials and your opponents, and keep your competitive energy in check. And I think that perspective has to be present every time you walk into a gym or onto a field, because I think people forget that because they get so sucked into the game. And I know that they have financially put a lot into it for their kids to participate in youth sports, but I think that perspective of maintaining your role, if you're a parent on the stands, you are a parent. If you are a coach coaching the kids, you stay in your role as the coach. If you are the official officiating, you stay in that role. If people do that, it'll be a great experience for everything, because ultimately that's what we care about, is the youth first.
For sure. Dawson, we've talked about the struggles, right, and the loss of referees. Let's talk about, you mentioned $25 for these referees. Let's talk about how people who may be watching this, if they're interested, can get involved. I mean, what kind of qualifications do people need to be a ref?
You just have to have a little bit of a knowledge of a sport You maybe have coached it, you maybe have watched it, you maybe have participated in it, but anybody that has been an alumni of as a youth sports volunteer coach or a player or even a grandpa that has watched it, we would love to engage in you looking into options. And I think sometimes that has been the limitation that's been out there, where people don't know where they could go, because ultimately most people that are involved in youth sports especially, all they care about is if the umpire official shows up to the game, and then they become the bad people in the black and white stripes or the blue shirt. There is more to that. I'm a 21-year high school basketball official, and the officials community is amazing. The network that you have, the games that you can work, the passion that's behind so many of the officials that work games day in and day out, and a lot of the youth officials as well. But we also need to accelerate the training and education and make sure people fully understand. But to answer your question, there are many ways to do that. On Play Together Minnesota website, that's the alliance that's been created. There are multiple ways that you can, based on the sport that you want to officiate, you can go to, for example, we represent baseball, basketball, and we have options for people to get involved in training that we provide at the youth level. We always want people to be involved in the, through the Minnesota State High School League and become registered through that. But Minnesota Hockey has their own avenue for youth officials, North Region Volleyball, Minnesota Youth Soccer Association, Twin Cities Soccer League, the MRPA, and the list goes on. That they all have their mechanism to get people into officiating.
Well, Dawson, thanks for your time today. Best of luck with the expo that's happening on Saturday. We hope that folks will be able to get out there, get involved here. If you have interest in becoming a ref or you want to learn more about the expo, Dawson just gave us the website. I'm going to give it to you again. You can find more information at mnsports.com/referee-expo.